Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, it is I am the one and only Ray the Flying Squirrel here. And I am Mighty the Armadillo here. We are back for yet again for the likes of the Mexi Toys videos once again. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back for some more of Let's Play of Super Mario Bros. 3 for the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES for short, or Famicom for those of you who lived in Japan. So, last time we've actually completed not only World 1, but also World 2 as well, mainly because both World 1 and 2 are by far the shortest worlds in the game, so that we figure we did manage able to tackle through both worlds in one video, which is pretty incredible if I have to say so for myself, despite the fact that I occasionally died every now and then in World 2, but so far Mighty is actually doing super well, because so far he hasn't come across into any deaths so far. And today for this video is the fact that we're going to be exploring through the next world in this game, which appears to be World 3. And if I recall correctly, this world is called, Waterland, I'm pretty sure, because this place is filled to the brim with water all over the place. So meaning that, since it's Mighty's turn to, going to get started with World 3, this means that, yes, he must able to actually swim the majority of the entire, well, underwater levels, as you can tell. Similar to the forms of how it does it in Super Mario Bros. And Super Mario Bros. 2 The Lost Levels, except, Super Mario USA, just because, or Super Mario Bros. 2, because obviously both with the forms of that particular game in mind, with, you know, with picking up vegetables and stuff like that. Basically though, there was no way you can able to swim in the, well, in Super Mario Bros. 2, aka Super Mario USA. So, yeah, everything else will be pretty much accounted for, and exponentially speaking, it looks like that Mighty did somehow manage to did this level no problem, especially that he got himself a Fire Flower. So this means about the fact that he has no issues at all when it comes to utilizing the Fire Flower in underwater, despite the fact that it might be a little bit more, I don't know what you would call it. So now it's my turn, on to level 2, so let's get this thing to it. So a few things we want to explain while this is happening. Today's date is of course the 8th of December today, in this case in 2022 today. And guess what folks, next week that Sonic Prime is going to be coming onto Netflix. And I was very excited about it, but as soon as I able to actually just realize that for those of you who have subscriptions out there when it comes to Roblox or something like that, basically you weren't able to actually access to the very first episode premiere of Sonic Prime if you managed able to be on Roblox, where basically that until when it gets to the point until this Saturday, oh wait a minute, I just died because I somehow realized I just keep on getting hit by not only Cheep Cheeps, but also I did not realize that the hitbox might be felt a bit all over the place, but that's just my bad luck for my part. But at the very least, I will let Mighty will able to do the job. Yep, especially noticeable because, well, relatively speaking, I got this awesome, devastating Fire Flower right there. Well, mind you, that I've already obtained it since the previous level, so yeah, everything else will be pretty much comfortable for my liking, for, you know, progression so far, for the sake of the forms of this game so far. And, of course, that, I somehow did not get hit so far, so well, eventually in the later levels, though, Mighty, that you will come across into some of the trickier levels, as far as I'm aware. Because I know for a fact that some people seem to say that World 3 is by far is kind of a hard level, or the hardest world to deal with. So anyways, let's go ahead and deal with this little card game and stuff like that. So, oh, I might as well get a 1-up. Ah, dang it, I didn't get the chance. Oh, that was my very unfortunate pick for, you know, with these matching cards and stuff like that. But, oh well. Pick a box, its contents will help you on your way. Yes, I know that, Toad. And from here, this is where we get ourselves the introduction to the frog suit, where I don't know if we can able to use one right now, because I think I'm also able to use my Fire Flower, because the next level we're going to be hit into actually contains one of the most deadliest enemies throughout the entire Mario series, and that's what appears to be the Cheep Chomp. Because as you can tell, the Cheep Chomp shows up and then if you manage able to get inside its mouth, basically you die instantly with him. So because of this though, yeah, this is gonna be one of the most dangerous levels in the game, next to the other one coming up, but that's only mainly because, you know, that devastating fish, because I don't know about you, Mighty, but whenever I did somehow manage to come across into several dreams on my own time, that basically though, as soon as I were able to actually get to sleep at one point, that for some reason I just dreamed about this hungry fish trying to eat me to death. I mean, can you believe that? Well, I don't know about you, because I'm pretty sure enough though, it will be, horrifying if you come across into one in reality. Like, either way though, that might be some consumption. Yeah, I was wondering about that. Alright, time to take down 2 more hammer bros, because obviously that I can able to get another one of those items, like another spare hammer. So I think what I'm gonna able to do with that hammer is that I'm going to save it up for later, so... Oh, I see what you're trying to do there, Mighty, because you're trying to save it up until once we get to the halfway point in World 3, so... And this is what the worlds themselves are gonna get much more longer than the forms of how it does on the previous 2 worlds that we've been to so far. Well, because we'll point out whenever we get to the later portion of this particular world so far. And this is the wrong door to entering into. But, regardless of such though, we can able to actually get something in here, and I seriously definitely needed this, because otherwise that will help me, especially noticeable if I come across into very difficult situations, then obviously that'll be my, well, good choice for able to actually just to go for that item. As far as I can recall, maybe the 5th door might help me? Or, it might give me something like a 1-up. So, thank you for that. Especially noticeable, that will, potentially helps me out. Especially because, well, relatively speaking though, okay, it's on the 6th door, so... Because if I ended up in the 4th door, then it'll lead me back into the water. So, it might be, feels like a maze kind of feel to it though. Oh god, Boom Boom now actually has wings onto him. And that is when the fact that Boom Boom might actually get pretty tough these days, especially whenever we get to the later worlds, so... Okay, so now we got ourselves our... I would say the first tower is done, because the reason why I say that, because this world is the introduction to we able to actually come across into ourselves 2 tower levels in one world, and that will also apply onto the future worlds as well. But then again though, we'll point that out and during in every Tuesdays, Thursdays essentially, so just to ensure about the fact that we can easily catch up on, you know, more uploading schedules alike, so... Anywho though, another thing I want to point out is the fact that, well, relatively speaking though, is the fact that, as what, Ray has already said this before, that basically Sonic Prime on Roblox is gonna be on its premiere on, this Saturday, specifically the Saturday the 10th of December, and that way, potentially, that you can able to actually experience the show onto that specific game. So, that'll be interesting, despite the fact that we haven't exactly access to, Roblox. Oh, get back here, you 1-up. Yeah, that might be kind of a tricky situation for certain power-ups, specifically regular mushrooms and 1-ups essentially, because if you think they'll come to you, but then next you notice they go to the opposite direction, so that might be the only trickiest part about the faults of this game sometimes though, but either way though, but at the very least though, Mighty did somehow complete it level 4, so now it's my turn to do level 5, and once again it's an underwater level, that not only do we brought back the Cheep Chomp right here, but except this time he just somehow, spawned in the mini Cheep or something, which I have no idea why I just said this twice for that, you know, that word I said earlier, because I was trying to think of something I could possibly try and discuss, but, actually, couldn't think about it though. There's one thing I think that we totally forgot to mention about, especially noticeable that Sonic also forgot to mention about that as well, during the course of in Super Metroid Let's Play, that basically, as you probably do not know, we actually got ourselves our brand new iPhone model, which this time we now actually upgraded into iPhone XR, which usually it's more accurately like a 10th model of any sort, but added in the R at the end, which I have no idea why that usually the R letter was a thing, but yeah, I'm very glad that we actually got ourselves the nice upgraded version of that particular iPhone, especially that transferring specific stuff though is pretty self-explanatory in my opinion, even though it might be confusing at first. But when you get the hang of it though, after the events of our previous models, because since that we no longer have ourselves our iPhone 8 right now, so this means I'm very happy about the forms of this new upgrade, so, and everything else will be pretty much accounted for, so. Alright, time to take down more Hammer Bros, and potentially, I'll get ourselves not only the next item, which appears to be the Starman in some cases though, and exponentially, we can able to actually just let to use the hammer, so that way, oh, I see what you're trying to do. You're trying to able to actually access to the other area, which, fundamentally speaking though, we'll point out whenever when, yeah, I don't have a hammer with me, so I'll go to, level 6, so, oh boy, another auto-scrolling level, but either way, hopefully I can able to actually do this just fine, so, assuming if that's potentially speaking of which, so, anyway, so another thing I would like to explain is the fact that speaking of something related to Christmas that we've already discussed on this so many times already, that apparently though, one of those SpongeBob specials, specifically, it's a SpongeBob Christmas, has officially become a decade old, which, gee, I can't believe that particular special has been out for 10 years now, since 2012, and especially noticeable is made by, I would say like a stop motion, kind of animation, which, kind of think about it, fundamentally speaking, for those of you all the Smosh fans out there, that special of SpongeBob came out in exactly the same time, well, roughly speaking at the same time, or roughly the same year, as in, Smosh 2012 Christmas special, because that special also utilizes the stop motion videos, and I'm gonna say that, Smosh, 2012, Christmas stop motion special is actually pretty cool. Despite the fact that I didn't go around into it back in the day, in day 1, just because about the fact that, as far as what Sonic did actually told me, that 2012 can be of a dark age sometimes, especially noticeable because, well, relatively speaking though, ever since in yesterday we somehow celebrated the 10th anniversary of Paper Mario Sticker Star, despite every nowadays everyone else seems to think that, well, that island looks kind of like Japan, doesn't it? Well, yes, exactly, right? Because especially noticeable because, well, if we get into the actual Peaches, or specifically one of those castles, because I'm pretty sure that we can able to explore or land on the part of Japan. So, yeah, it seems pretty cool though. So anyways, I'm gonna be taking care of the forms of World 3-7, and this is where we get ourselves the introduction to these enemies called Spikes. So, or Spike, whatever you want to say so for this kind of stuff. Or don't you mean it's kind of like the same name as the forms of how it does it in My Little Pony franchises? Except with Generation 5, because for some reason they just call a dragon a different name. Called, like, is it like Sparky or something? Well, mind you, it's been quite a few days since I actually last watched the Generation 5 of My Little Pony, despite the fact that, well, relatively speaking, we're still used to with G4 most of our time. Oh, I can simply just go ahead and buy or get some of my items. Okay, I wasn't paying attention to that because, relatively speaking, I know exactly what your plan is for Mighty, because I almost first thought you trying to steal those items from me, but then I found out that you just somehow managed to let me get those items. So, how very generous of you, bro. How very generous of you. It's no biggie, bro. Especially because you've always been a best brother to me. Yeah, especially noticeable because, well, relatively speaking though, we always have a good times together despite stumbling across into a lot of traps from Dr. Robotnik for its entire, like, trap towers or anything else like that. So, come on, let's see if I can get this. Alright, now I've got myself 2 1-ups. About time that I finally managed able to get the matching pair for that particular icon slots. So, but that doesn't end off here because there's another one over there. So... But anyway, speaking of SpongeBob, actually, we finally got ourselves a confirmation of the forms of the actual release date of the forms of the new game is about to be approaching. That's what appears to be the SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake, and that game finally got its release date, and truth be told, we correct at first, especially noticeable that we did say that it's about to be coming out until 2023, but then it did somehow confirmed it's going to be coming on 2023. Oh, come on! Darn you, Koopa. Oh well, at least I can wait until the next turn, so your turn, Mighty. I think you're about to tackle through the tower level, or should I say, the second tower level, so... Yeah, I was going to be thinking about the same thing, so... And fundamentally speaking though, I think we pretty much almost nearly at the end of World 3 before we move on to World 4. And I think we've almost at the halfway point in terms of Super Mario Bros. 3 itself. Well, mind you about the fact the matter is though that this game might be a little bit longer than he forms of how it does on the previous games, that's for sure. Oh god, I have to avoid those boo blocks in underwater. But thankfully you somehow managed to avoid those as much as you can, so... And time to take down Boom Boom again, that just easily becomes a little bit more pathetic. Especially if you try to time your jumps correctly, and then boom, the Boom Boom is done. And there we go, the second tower has been completed and has been demolished in the process. Now it's my turn again and able to redo level 8 again, but this time I'm going to bring a fire flower with me again, just in case about the fact that if the Cheap Chomp won't distract me again. Or in some cases though, with that gosh darn Koopa Troopa that I always get hit so many times. Well, not all the time though, but just sometimes, you know? So yeah, as far as the release date is concerned for SpongeBob SquarePants The Cosmic Shake on not only on the PlayStation 4, but also Xbox One and Nintendo Switch and PC, is about to be releasing until, for some reason, at the very end of January. So, almost as far as going to be releasing it during the forms of sometime in next summer, but then they just somehow realized about the fact that they just want to get the game out of the way for the sake of trying to able to get its release date going. So, yeah, it seems kind of surprising, considering how the fact that, well, relatively speaking, though, that game is going to be releasing until by the end of next January. So, pretty interesting, if I have to say so for myself. So, but obviously, we'll try to aim for the PlayStation 4 release, just because, obviously, we've already got... you know what I mean, Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated on the PlayStation 4, because we originally did have the second version, which appears to be the Switch version, but sadly the Switch version is a bit rough around the edges, especially because, well, not to mention with that frame rate is actually a lot worse than the forms of how it does in any other versions of the game, actually. And on top of that, long loading times, and on top of all that stuff though, I want to classify for saying a confusing button layout, as far as I'm aware. So that's why we no longer have ourselves the Switch version of Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated, which is kind of a shame, because I would love to play the game on the go, but unfortunately though, it does have a lot of technical issues, like, you know, with the frame rate issues, and on top of that, worse visuals, and especially noticeable with the forms of confusing button layouts, because for some reason or one another, I think I'm more accustomed to the PlayStation controls for certain SpongeBob games, I'm pretty sure. So as a result though, that might be some consumption, especially noticeable. I might be biased when it comes to which specific versions I do prefer. So in some cases though, I might be biased, I guess. So... Oh, and another thing too, that Elden Ring is actually getting itself its free DLC content, which by the looks of all that stuff though, it did somehow manage to able to just recently release yesterday. That's what appears to be a free Colosseum update is, you know, now released on Elden Ring. Speaking of which though, are you guys excited for the Games Awards tonight? Because I sure am. especially noticeable because, well, relatively speaking though, we cannot wait to see certain events, or especially noticeable for certain announcements here and there as well. So we expect able to see what's going to be up next or something like that, but we shall see. Oh no, there goes my first death of the game. Ah, that was so unfortunate right there. In fact, I almost got away from that Cheep, but of course, that particular lips just touched me. Ah, oh well, that's kind of unfortunate. It happens sometimes, you know, Mighty. It sometimes happens, unfortunately. But at least I'll definitely give this level a chance for my part, for able to actually just to, like, complete the level as normal. Now, I suppose that... Oh, actually, kind of think about it, you did somehow manage to discover a secret, didn't you? I suppose so, but unfortunately though, I didn't get a chance to able to hold the right directional pad right this whole time. But, at the very least, I will able to get myself my extra life, so... I think, relatively speaking, I'm almost slowly catching up on the forms of extra lives, because I can assure you that despite the World 2 give me a bit of a troublesome time, or in some cases though, if I like to say, World 2 did give me a hard time, so as a result, I highly guarantee about the fact that World 3 and onwards might give me a benefit for the chance for able to, like, you know, grind for my extra lives, or something like this, despite, well... It gets a bit tricky these days, so... Alright, so I found a secret and it's a frog suit. But, at the very least, we can able to actually show this power-up off. So, in some cases, we got ourselves a frog suit, which not only you can able to just do a crazy hop, but also you can able to actually just have a better control swimming if you're in underwater. So you can able to go multiple directions with this. Although, if you try to use the frog suit on the ground, this means it'll make things a lot harder to control because you keep on hopping most of the time. So as a result, I think it's better this way with the actual underwater in mind. Especially because, well, you can just swim in just about any directions like this. Despite the fact that I wasn't paying attention due to the forms of that gosh darn green Cheep right there. So, that's a bit cheap, get it? Because obviously I wasn't exactly got enough room for able to try to avoid him as much as I possibly I can think of. Ah, I'm supposed to go through here, okay. I see what this is going, but I will try my best to not get hit by that Cheep in mind, but at the very least, I pull this off, so I apologize for that background noise you'll be hearing, because I think there might be something outside, so I apologize for that, folks. Oh, I think, relatively speaking though, actually, I think that's as far as I can try to discuss upon for today's discussion. I mean, surely we'd like to be able to mention something more, but, honestly, guys, I think that's as far as we can talk about, although we were originally going to be able to try and mention something more related to the Game Award announcements at some point, but exponentially I believe Sonic might able to actually mention more about it until when he goes back on to The Legend of Zelda, so in some cases though, yeah, that will make it happen, so... Alright, so now it's my turn now to take on the third airship level, so in some cases though, yeah, once again we do need to able to get the wand back, so... And oh boy, this is where the game starts to get a bit tricky nowadays, especially because, well, as we said before, no checkpoints, and by the way, if you mess up with your jumps in the beginning, you get crushed, and you have to start the beginning of the level again, and also you need to able to go after the, well, the airship, fortress itself. So just in case you can able to actually go back on track for able to actually just to continue your progress, well, I would say continue progressioning, but it's just the fact the matter is though that you just gonna have to like, you know, just try to be more skillful and just try not to be in the riskiest move if possible. So relatively speaking though, there's not much else you can say about this, so... Oh yeah, something's worth mentioning is the fact that speaking of iPhone XR, that basically, that thankfully, when it comes to other games that we actually got, that thanks to the forms of iCloud, this means that obviously it just directly just somehow managed to do it for us. So, but I think we'll let Sonic will mention more about it until when he goes back on to Super Metroid tomorrow. So, relatively speaking, no, there's not much else to say. And here we have Windy-O Koopa. So, she might actually be one of the trickiest Koopalings to deal with, because as you can tell, she summons a ring as a projectile, and it's your job to able to once again stomp on her until, well, you win. But if she able to actually start sending some more ring projectiles, that'll make things a lot tougher for me, so... And I just realized, Mighty, that you no longer have 10 lives, so... Yeah, I definitely need to get back onto the forms of that particular lives grinding if possible. Well, assuming we keep on messing things up with the actual timing with all that, you know, goal block and stuff like that. And from here, you get yourselves a music box, so... Yeah, that's not much else to say about it, or in some cases the white block, as what it says anyway, so... There we go, World 3 has been completed. Originally we were going to do both worlds in one video again, but due to the fact that, you know, World 3 is really long, so in some cases though, I'm afraid to say we're going to end things off here, so join us next time for more of Let's Play of Super Mario Bros. 3. It's the fact that we're going to be moving on to World 4, which is known as Giant Land, because everything else in this place is going to be huge. Yeah, tell me about it. So we'll see you guys until next Tuesday. Later, dudes. See you guys then.